We've already discussed the confusing situation that is the surfers and the bikers, so let's move on to our primary romantic leads, Mac and Brady, and Mac's hopes and dreams. Does it weird anyone else out that the message of the opening song seems to be, I need this other person in my life or I can't breathe? Because as much as I love dangerously codependent love lyrics in my music, that seems like a bit much for the Disney Channel. True love means you physically cannot function without the other person. What? No, that's completely healthy. Anyway, ignoring the lyrics in the opening song, I have questions about the main character's relationship. Of course I do. I don't know why you're expecting me to not have these kinds of questions. Here's a little context I left out of the last video. Mac and Brady have been surfing all summer. But then Brady finds out that Mac is leaving the next day to go to an expensive school under the care of her aunt. Brady's even more upset when he finds out that Mac insists they break up to avoid the terrors of a long-distance relationship. On top of all that, Mac is upset because her aunt showed up a day early, which means he won't be able to surf the amazing waves that are showing up the next day. So of course, she decides to risk upsetting her aunt and goes to surf anyway. And then a series of events leads them to the fictional beach of Wet Side Story. Brady and Mac are meant to be, right? They're so perfect. They know each other so well. They're interested in a lot of the same things. And yet somehow Brady knows next to nothing about Mac's family, aside from the fact that she lives with her grandfather, and Mac hasn't told him that she's leaving the next day. I guess all they talk about is surfing at his favorite movie. After Brady finds out that Mac is going away to an expensive, exclusive, and expensive preparatory school, Mac explains that her mother, who has passed away, wrote in a diary that, most of all, I dream that my daughter becomes a great success, that she isn't just pulled through life, but marches through it triumphantly. The plan was that Mac could stay with her grandfather for the first half of high school and then transfer to the exclusive, expensive, and exclusive preparatory school that her aunt had picked out, so that she could have a bright future ahead of her, I guess. I can see her being afraid of telling Brady that she's moving, but I have a very hard time with the idea that she hasn't told him anything about her dreams, her mother, or the fact that she has an aunt. By the way, just a little note, if you fall in love or intense like with someone and begin a relationship, it is probably a good idea to have a discussion with them if you're going to be moving. Yeah. And please do it a good amount of time before you move, not, say, a day before. In general, it's a good idea to give your significant other some warning before their life is going to drastically change. Anyway, in the story, Brady and Mac do seem like they know each other well and have a good relationship. Maybe with some tweaking of the story, it could have made just a wee bit more sense. How about Brady knew about Mac's dreams but didn't know about the option to go to a different school? Or maybe suddenly the aunt shows up, giving Mac the option to leave, and Mac really wants to go and Brady tries to talk her out of it. Anything to indicate that Brady has a deeper knowledge of Mac's dreams and family. And maybe a deeper acknowledgement that Mac lying like this betrays his trust. However, I do like how he seems to deal with their breakup surprisingly well. He gets very upset, of course, but then shows up to support her when she goes to surf before leaving. And even though he wants to stay in the magic biker surfer land so they can be together, he keeps on working on a plan to get them home. But let's talk about Mac's dream, the one she told her beloved boyfriend nothing about. I read some reviews of Teen Beach Movie in the faint hope that someone enjoyed this movie like I did. As usual, it's just me. But what I noticed is that at least one review noted, with much annoyance, that the movie attempts to show that girls can do whatever they want to, and can follow their hearts, and not just let a guy make all the decisions. And yes, these attempts at showing girl power are clumsy and really inconsistent, but I don't think that that was the point of all of that. Mac has a need to fulfill her mother's wish. And she attempts to show the biker girls that they can choose their own future instead of having men in society decide it for them. Mac tells Brady that she's going with her aunt because that is being true to herself and her dreams. She wants to be successful in a way her mother couldn't be because, Mac tells Brady, her mother couldn't go to college when she was pregnant with her. Layla, younger sister of the leader of the bikers, doesn't surf even though she wants to because she's part of the bikers. Tanner, leader of the surfers, wants to ride a motorcycle but he can't because he's the leader of the surfers. All the biker girls tell Mac that the guys are in charge, and you basically have to trick a guy into asking you out. While Mac protests that you can define for yourself how to be happy, instead of following rules being forced on you by others. In the end, Mac realizes that her mother wanted her to be successful, but she can define successful on her own terms. Her mother wanted her to march through life triumphantly, and it is up to her to decide how to do that. To me, that is the obscure heart of Teen Beach Movie. The realization that you can define for yourself what success and happiness means. That can mean going to preparatory school. That can mean surfing. That can mean doing the best with the options you have. I will admit I am not a fan of the whole follow your dreams and everything will work out message because that is a very privileged way of looking at the world. What I do like is that Mac is headstrong, smart, and driven, and she still does some self-reflecting to find that maybe she doesn't have all the answers. And maybe even when you're sure of yourself, you still need to evaluate your goals. She helps both Tanner and Layla do this, quickly learning that Tanner is smarter than he seems and becoming his friend, and showing Layla that she can step out of her box and work towards new goals. Okay, I may have lost the thread a bit. I'm new at this. But there's something there just beneath the surface that gives Teen Beach Movie more heart than it may at first appear to have. And a lot of it gets kind of lost underneath the chaos of the story. Team Beach Movie could have been better and could have made more sense, but it is one of the more fun and interesting movies I've seen coming from the Disney Channel in a while. Yes, you could say it follows some of the same usual storylines, but it takes some twists, is pretty funny, and has some surprisingly good musical numbers. I wish it could have lived up to what it could have been, but I am more than happy with what it is. I will be eagerly waiting to see what they do in the next one, which I somehow still haven't seen yet, so I can overanalyze it all over again. Thanks for listening. Bye!